Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Notando and I make videos on construction, lifestyle and travel. If you're new here, welcome, and if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for tuning back in. Please do not forget to like the video. So on today's video, we are going to discuss the cost of living in Kathu versus Johannesburg. In my previous video about Kathu, I mentioned that I feel like the cost of living is high, and my prediction was that because it's a town that's far from everything. But from the comments, I deduced that Kathu is expensive because it is a mining town, and Kathu is expensive because there is a concentration of higher earners. So apparently that's why things are a bit more costly. So initially I just wanted to do like a grocery comparison because that's how I felt it the most when I go grocery shopping. But then I thought, okay, maybe we can go deeper with this one. Let's get right on into it. So, number one, rent. This was hard to find, or compare rather, because Joburg is bigger. There's a lot of areas that you can choose from. What you get in a certain area is different from another area. So I tried my best to just find like a basic, let's say 7,500, what you can get in Joburg and what you can get in Kathu. Kathu is much higher when it comes to rent, and the quality of housing that you get is not as vast and new as Joburg is. But it's hard to pin this down because I don't know which area to compare Kathu with. So like in Joburg, if you find a place in Randburg, that's going to be different from a place in Midrand. That's going to be different from a place in Sandton. That's going to be different from a place in the south. And yeah, so it was really hard to concentrate it. But Kathu is very small. There's not a lot of options, and the options that you have are like older houses. A lot of them are standalone houses with a lot of yard space, but the finishings are not as new and nice, and you don't have much of an option compared to Joburg. So from that standpoint, the rent in Kathu is much more expensive, and for obviously luxury homes and stuff, that's even more expensive here. Like a 20,000 rand house here could be big, right? But it wouldn't be as nice as what you can find, or 20,000 rands per month rental wouldn't be as nice as the options that you have in Joburg. So in Joburg, your options really vary depending on which area you're enclosing this comparison with. So from that perspective, rent is much more expensive and much more harder, or housing is much more harder to like find an ideal place to live that is affordable. That's one thing that I picked up when I did the rent comparison. Traveling. So traveling in Kathu versus traveling in Joburg, totally different ball games for both areas. In Kathu, there's only one airport, and the airport will then take you to Joburg. Then from Joburg, you can travel from anywhere else. So obviously, when you're in Joburg, you're in better positions to travel to more different areas, and there's more options, and it's cheaper from that perspective. Another thing that I want to highlight on traveling, a lot of people say if I feel like Sishen airport is expensive, Sishen is the airport here in Kathu, is expensive, then I can drive down to Uppington and fly from Uppington. And the other day I actually did go into there to do a price comparison, looked at the similar times, and I was booking way in advance to make sure that I'm getting the most of my money. And the flight that I found here in Sishen was cheaper than the flight that I found in Uppington. I think in Sishen it was like 2,000 rands, and then in Uppington it was maybe 3,500 rands. And Uppington is actually 3 hours away from here. So before I even go anywhere, I'd need to drive 3 hours with my car, park my car there, get into the Uppington airport, and then go to Joburg, which is a bit of an inconvenience still. So Northern Cape, it's not very convenient here. You need to have money to make it easy for yourself. And okay, let's say you do have the money as well. The flights are not every day. So I think on Mondays, there's no flights to anywhere. You can't go anywhere. And a lot of flights, when there are flights, all go to Joburg first before you go anywhere. So you can't fly directly to George as you would if you were in Joburg. You need to first fly to Joburg, and then from Joburg, you then go to George or KZN or Mpumalanga or any other area. There's not a lot of direct, if any, I have not seen any direct direct flights to other areas. So from a transporting perspective, it's very inconvenient. But it is what it is. Transport wise as well, there are bus options like I mentioned in my other video. But yeah, I have colleagues who live in Cape Town, I have colleagues who live in KZN, and they all take buses because to them it's inconvenient to, first of all, you're going to spend, let's say, 4,000 rands to fly to Joburg, and then from Joburg you spend 2,000 rands to fly to Cape Town. That's like 12,000 rands every month just to go home. So they opt for the bus option, which is like 18 hours to Cape Town. I don't know how long it is to Durban. Does it go directly to Durban? I don't know how he goes to Durban, but yeah. So as much as it is a bus option, the transportation is very limited. And yes, obviously you can drive, that's also another option, but that's like 7 hours driving to Joburg. That's like 12 hours driving to Cape Town. So ew, guys, transportation wise, it is very inconvenient living here if you like traveling to areas outside of the province. So that's another thing that I can do as a comparison between the two. Quality of life in Kathu versus Johannesburg. Life in Kathu is definitely more chilled, more quiet, less busy. So there is like a chillness to it. There are families here, especially where I live, who have their kids and stuff like that. And there are also schools here. So it's much more quiet and much more calm compared to Joburg. It does feel safer, like I said in the other video. Unlike when you're in Joburg, you need to be slightly more alert. But you're not as worried as you are when you're in Joburg. It's a bit more relaxed. Also, the people who are raising their kids here, I realized sometimes when I take my walks around the estate, the kids will just go alone on their own, like as teens, and just chill by the clubhouse or like have like a little session on the park as kids. In Joburg, I feel like the parents there, you need to be a bit more alert. The parents are there with their kids usually, and you're like watching over them, you're a bit more alert. But here there's a relaxation in that sense because you know that it's a bit more safe in that sense. So from a family rearing perspective, and also depending on the type of estate or area that you live in, it's much more safer in that sense. That's one thing that I picked up compared to Johannesburg. Although you might run out of entertainment for the kids, like there's not a lot of things that they can be partaken, I think. Or maybe it's just me, maybe I'm not seeing the world from a parent perspective, but having a niece and nephew, like I would want them maybe to go in Joburg. There's a lot of like, oh, let's go quad biking, oh, let's go car racing, oh, let's go to this restaurant because it's got like a kids play area. Okay, there is one here that's very similar, but I feel like there's fewer options to entertain your children, so they need to be a little bit more creative here. I don't know, but maybe as moms there's other ways and other like events that I'm not privy to because I'm not seeing the world in that eye. But yeah, that's the difference that I've seen. Quality of life factor, another thing is that in this town I've seen and I've observed that Christianity is like the backbone of the town. I picked this up by when we listen to the radio in the morning on our way to work. They play gospel music. Gospel music is also music in general on the radio, like commercial music. It's bleeped, like they bleep out songs that go like, oh my God, like, because like that's blasphemy. So it's very Christian strong. So if you are not Christian, you might struggle to first maybe find a place of worship or like feel your spirituality being fed. It will be more of a mission for yourself to like build your own. Yeah, that's from my perspective. Or maybe because I am Christian, so I see it more blatantly, but I haven't seen a lot of other places of worship. The churches that I've heard about are predominantly just Christian churches. So if you're not Christian, you might need to think about that or like find alternative ways of being or practicing your spirituality or your religion in other ways. So it's less diverse in that sense when it comes to religion and spirituality. That's one thing that I picked up. But if you're a Christian, then you're fine. Oh yeah, the entertainment, even for adults, it's not just for kids. Entertainment for me is very limited, but also I work like long hours. So when it comes to the weekend, I just want to sleep. Even just doing this video, I had to like really convince myself. So there's not a lot to do if you are a very outgoing person that likes to do fun things. Like there's nothing like your Never Rushes Sundays. There's no gallery to visit like randomly like close by. There's not a lot of spots to have drinks and socialize. The only thing that I've really noticed is Katex's, and it seems like everybody just goes to Katex's. Katex's is like a restaurant slash lodge slash, it's like an all-in-one type of area. You can go there with your kids. There's like a nice play area, and then there's like a big screen for like sports days. But it's like a restaurant. It's pretty much a restaurant, and it looks like the main restaurant where everybody goes there. Even when you drive into Kathu, maybe like the second robot will say, well, Texas, welcome to the world of Texas, or something like that. I don't know, I'll find a clip with that. And it's literally I feel like the core of the town. But I haven't been to the other areas in the town, so I don't know. But from my experience and what I'm exposed to, it's very, very limited options when it comes to entertainment, honestly. So if you're a person that likes doing things during the weekend, you might struggle. But with that said, there is a golf estate and country club which has like a pedal court. There's also tennis courts. There's also golf. You can play golf, which, if that's your source or form of entertainment or hobby, then you'll be sorted, because that's covered. So yeah, that's another part when it comes to the quality of life you can have here. And then healthcare. The reason that I'm mentioning healthcare is because somebody sent me an email and they were asking about how they can penetrate the healthcare system in Kathu. And to be honest, I don't know much about that. Like, I'm in construction, so I don't know much about healthcare. But from my experience and my perspective in life, healthcare is predominantly linked to the mine. So the mine has its own like health hub or health. I haven't been to a doctor outside of the mine. And then when you're there, if there's something that they can't provide, a service that they can't provide for you, they'll recommend a doctor outside of the mine. There is a hospital, Lane-Made Hospital, and there are a number of dentists. I've seen a lot of signs for dentists. I've also seen signs for like Botox. And I'm like, oh, interesting. So you can go do Botox there. But yeah, doctors or doctor's visits, I don't know how much that would cost, honestly. So I can't even give you that example, because a lot of the people who are here work at the mine, and the mine has like a wellness center, and unless something is wrong with you or you need like your blood test or something like that, they'll then recommend one of the doctors around. So there could be a shortage of specialists in the town itself, depending on obviously what you're looking for. But from a costing perspective and also where you work, I really can't say, because a majority of the people who live here's healthcare is covered by the mine, unless then you go to a dentist. There's a lot of dentists around that I've seen. But yeah, so unlike Joburg, where everything is everywhere, literally when I look at my discovery, I try to check my network, there's not a lot of options in Kathu for me. But I did find maybe 2 or 3 GPs that I can go to, but like specialist wise, it's a bit further out of this. I don't think there's even one that's on my network here. So when it comes to healthcare, it can be a bit scarce, but maybe if you work for the mine, you'll then have access to the mine's healthcare system, and then that sorts you out on a healthcare basis. When it comes to the cost, I have no idea. I'm sorry. I couldn't even find anything that could help me. I don't know how much a consultation costs, because I don't even know how much a consultation costs in Joburg, because it's different. It also depends on your medical aid, also depends on the doctor and the area, and blah blah blah. There's a lot. But in terms of availability, especially of specialists, it can be limited. And if you're looking at breaking into the market as a doctor, then I feel like the best route that you could take is to link yourself with the mine and be on their network, so that if they need someone with the service that you're providing, you can be like first on call, like no, go to this doctor. So a lot of people who come to the mine have to do medical, so you do like a proper health check, and if something is wrong with you, they'll then tell you, okay, you need to go check this, or you need to go look for that, or your heart is like this, blah blah blah, and then they'll recommend where you can go outside of the mine's healthcare system. Petrol, actually, the petrol in Kathu is much more expensive. I can personally vouch for this myself. When I left here, I actually drove home with my last pay weekend, or R&R, and I stopped at the garage. I think I still had 2 bars in my car, but I paid like 700 Rand for a full tank, or to fill it up to a full tank. And then I drove to Joburg. When I eventually got somewhere, when I got to Joburg, it was empty and the light was on. So I got full tank again, and then it was like 600 Rand. So I saw there's a slight little difference when it comes to that. there was I'm like, it's costly. But another thing that could be playing a role in this is that Kathu, I went to a garage that's not common, so not BP, not Shell, not Engine, not what's the other one? Yeah, the common ones that we know. I went to one, I don't know what it is, but it's a different one. There's a lot of those here as well, and price of fuel there can be higher. So this might not be a fair comparison, but from my experience, I was just like, what? Why is it so costly? And then the other thing, oh yeah, groceries. This one I actually went into depth with. Like, I literally looked at like bread, it's like all the staples that you put in a basket, those online staples. I got a list and I did like a comparison. And to be honest, it's higher here in Kathu, but not that much higher. So like, after doing my list, I had a comparison. Like, Kathu is like 10% higher, just a little 10% higher. So if a basket is 970 in Joburg, and Kathu is like 1075 or something like that. So the difference wasn't that high. Things that cost more here are fruits and vegetables. I noticed the tomatoes. Fruits and vegetables cost much more here, and I think that comes to my point that I raised in the other video, that it's a desert and it's far from everywhere. So if you need to bring in fruits and stuff, they travel much longer to be sold here. That's what I picked up. So groceries are a little more expensive, but not like, oh my gosh, like maybe by like 100 rands compared to Joburg. And then our favorite topic, salaries. I actually don't like this topic at all, because last time I did a video about salaries, people were so mad at me, and I was just like, I'm never talking about money again because it's so sensitive. I can't really compare that people working here earn more than people in Joburg. The only way that it makes a huge difference salary wise is if they take you from Joburg and you were paying for, let's say, your bond or your rent or whatever, and when you get here they provide housing for you, and obviously they will have to match or slightly beat what your salary was, then that could create a significant boost in your salary. But if you're living at home, you're not paying for any housing, the only significant change with you coming here would be whatever you're earning, because that's what a lot of companies do, whatever you're earning being matched or slightly upped for you to come to Kathu. So that's the only thing. And it's hard to know. Some people are high earners, so when they get here, the boost is high. Some people are low earners. When you get here, there is a boost, but you're still not above a certain, like, there's no set average of this is how much salaries in Kathu start at. So it is hard to do that comparison as well. But if you are paying for your own accommodation, your own bond or whatever, you can move out, let someone rent your space. That can be paid for by itself, knowing that you don't even have to pay anything here. So that could go into savings or a higher take home in that sense. That's the one way that I picked up that salaries in Kathu can be higher. But maybe if my career started here and then I moved to Joburg, I would have seen like a significant, like, yeah, I'm actually earning more than, the Joburgers. But yeah, that's all I could think of in doing this comparison. I hope you found this video useful, and if I missed anything, please do comment down below and let me know. I'll see you later in another video. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Mwah.